Okay, we are live. We are starting right now. We are just starting. And this is exciting. There's some good things today to go over. And these are some of the artwork and such that I'm using for the videos and materials. As we basically learn how to be able to put emotion in our acting and why it's important. And it's not just some trivial thing that we're doing here. This is something that has quite a lot of purpose. And that purpose is really important because we're not just in a situation where we're trying to be, well, there's a lot of people in a lot of situations, but the thing is that there's a concentration that is actually being achieved at every single level of acting. And this concentration leads us to ask ourselves a very simple question. And the question is, what do you want? Why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to be an actor? This isn't some arbitrary question. This isn't something that's just like, something to, give a fleeting thought to and then think about for a second and then go, well, it's just a one-line answer. Well, hold on a second. There's a lot more to this than just one line. And by answering this question, why do you want to be an actor? You are enabling yourself and your own talent. So you're literally accessing your talent. You're literally capable of being able to actually start to release more of yourself in your acting by answering this question. Why do you want to be an actor? So this is big. This is a big learning opportunity. This is a big learning opportunity for you to have personal growth by looking at this question. It's not arbitrary. This isn't something that doesn't matter. This is something that makes a difference to you. Why do you want to become an actor? Now, there's a lot of different answers to this. And, it might be that you just have terrible life circumstances and you figured that it would be really easy to just make a bunch of money in the film industry because there's some people making money in film industry. Maybe that's your reason. But maybe there's a reason that you have actually had terrible circumstances in life. And there's this belief that's accurate that you can literally take terrible, terrible, terrible life experiences and process them as an artist who can then be brave enough to also be an actor. So you're processing and you're working with your emotion to be able to actually go through and actually work so that you're crafting that terrible or horrendous experience or entire life history where you're capable of then isolating those elements, not as therapy, but as an element where you can actually use those things for good. So what am I saying? I'm saying basically you could choose to do acting because instead of expelling more of the hatred that life's given to you, you can actually turn around and you can actually love life through learning acting techniques, through the ability to channel what it is that's been tough in life. And I don't know if this is the reason why I've actually had such a drivenness towards acting. I have endured quite a number of things, as well as many other people. And the reality to this is there's some reality of the answer for me personally, but the thing is that, well, there's more to it because you want to be able, and art is the ability to be able to give life a new breath of air, right? So the artistic value in acting is actually this element that's actually this thing that processes your abilities or your emotions or your well, your feelings, your instincts, all of the different things that are connecting that make you you. So you make yourself in a way that you're capable of being able to process things in life, and you're using the safety and security of the acting. Now, this is very different than therapy. Therapy is a little bit of a different thing. Processing is a thing that's actually giving freedom to yourself of the expression, not something that's a discussion to have to limit your expression, which sometimes therapy can be. And that's an argumentative point. But the thing is that you want to be able to answer this question. This is very key. So, do you want to be? Why do you want to be an actor? I don't know. You could just be stuck in it. You could be stuck in the fact that every single year you have to do some play that you don't want to do, and it's kind of important for you to learn somehow some kind of technique or some kind of like element of yourself so that you can, I don't know, like figure something somehow out so that you're not just standing there on stage every single, Christmas concert or Easter parade or whatever it is that you do, and you work so that you're doing some play, and you don't want to just stand there and be boring. So you figure, this next year you're going to take it upon yourself to just learn a few bits of acting techniques. So maybe next year you can actually have some technique. You can actually, I don't know, do something that's maybe different, that's not going to be such a dredge for you when your loved one wants you to go and do that play that's annual. That's a great reason. And that is definitely one reason that people have studied acting. The point that is next is really important because, when I ask myself, why do I want to be an actor? I sometimes get very different reasons. And they're similar, but there's differences. Sometimes, I personally want to ask myself this question, and do ask myself this question regularly. This is like one of the exercises that I do and that I teach people to do that isolates me learning more about myself. So I'm learning about myself. One of the other exercises, to give an example of this, is I will do, I'll ask myself every month or every 2 months, what's motivating me in life right now? And then I'll work to be able to add that into my actor's journal. What's my motivation? Or can I work with my motivation and put some stuff down on paper and just store the paper somewhere? Or however it is. Somehow I'm putting the expression of the question out in an answer. And it's very interesting because when you ask this question regularly, you start to delve into what actually works for you in acting in your own technique. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful system. And I would absolutely encourage you to work with asking this question of why do you want to be an actor? I would say every month, every 2 months, ask yourself, why is it that you want to be an actor? Because this will change. You'll see differences in your personality come out that you can study. And when you study those things, those different answers that you're actually answering, all of a sudden, you're going to start being able to mine that depth. So you're able to find those emotional layers in yourself because you're willing to ask yourself a very tough question about wanting to be an actor. Now, I don't only ask myself this question during the good times. I don't just ask myself this question during the difficult times. I ask myself this question on a regular, try and be regular about it. I constantly am working. I want to continue to mine the desires that I have. What is that is activating me right now? What is it that's fresh emotionally? What's not fresh emotionally? Why did something shift? Have I lost my passion for something? Has something activated, or what has affected my passion for acting? And then when I start to look at what's actually affected my passion for acting, I start to then examine what it is that I'm actually doing. I'm like, hold on a second. Did I want to have some sort of relationship with that person when that person brings me down in my acting? You know, I can't give away some of the stuff, but I can tell this. I can say that absolutely it's important to pick and choose people that support your passion. And the thing is that you want to be able to choose people that actually are supportive of what it is that you're desiring to do. Now, if you're just looking at this because you want to join an acting class and pick up a whole bunch of women, and that's great. And there's been a lot of people, including famous people, that's the only reason why they've ever admitted that they went to acting class. They just wanted to pick up the ladies. And, you know, I'm sure that that's gone both sides. But the thing is that if that's what you're looking to do, you know, it gives me a fantastic idea for a script, because you could write a script, and this is a great idea. You could write a script on somebody showing up to an acting class, thinking that it was going to be easy pickings for some, you know, to be able to pick up dates and stuff, and then put them in this bizarre circumstance of what it was actually like to date an actress. You know, and sometimes it can be wonderful, and sometimes there's challenges and with an actor as well, because look, you're constantly working on your craft. If you're really, really actually doing this work, I'm not talking about famous people. Sometimes some famous people work on their craft, some people don't. Some people just think that showing up to an acting class is just working on their craft, and that's all they need to do. And then they put on the teacher that they have to be able to come up with all the different answers, which is still learning. It's different, because some people really dive in and they've got this like artistic life. And this is the reason to ask yourself this question. Are you looking to do acting because you want to find your artistic soul? Are you looking so that you can actually find it and mine it and like start to discover more about who you are and what you like and what you dislike? I mean, these are difficult things. When you're looking for relationships, and the whole topic of relationships in acting, it gets very, very intricate. There's been some phenomenal relationships, but it can also be very testing, because you want to be able to be with the right people that are capable of supporting your ambitions and your dreams. Now, if that's not a great reason of why do you want to be an actor, and to ask yourself the question of why you want to be an actor, I don't know what is. I mean, this is the thing. You absolutely can access talent, but the ramifications of working with emotions and acting, it's stark. You're like, you know, sometimes I remember, I don't know if I should say, I don't care. But the thing is, I remember working on some project, and I literally told the people, listen, I'm like emotional right now, and just try and make sure I'm you know, safe at my studio and after the, you know, from the location I was at, and I just won't wander too far. I won't go too far with whatever, you know. So because I knew that I had accessed some sort of emotion in myself in that production, and that emotion was still active in me after working as an actor. Now, look, not everyone works this way, but I absolutely encourage you to work this way. This is the real deal. This is the actual way to work with acting. I mean, if I'm going to be given a part and work with the part, I'm going to let them know, look, guys, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste your time. I work with emotions. And half of the people will go, okay, you know, some people won't care. They'll be like, all right, I want to make sure that I'm working with the emotions. Now, that means this. When I show up to a film set and I have a scenario, a scene that's being given to me, I've already done emotional preparation on that scene. All I have to do on that film set is activate, reactivate that emotion, and all of a sudden that emotion is going to come alive in me. Now, that's what professionals do. But if you're like, trying to pick up dates in an acting class, it's going to be a mess, because the thing is, everybody that's sincere about acting in the acting class is doing that same process. They are involved in an emotional preparation the night before. They show up in the acting class. They're ready to reactivate their emotional work. They're professionally there. They work with the emotional preparation. They go behind the stage, or they go onto the stage, wherever the situation is, and then they reactivate that emotion that they worked on the night before. And they reactivate that, and that activates inside of them. They're awake to something, and all of a sudden they have some sort of possibly intense circumstance happen on the stage. Now, this is acting. Now, after the intense circumstance or bizarre circumstance or weird communication that whatever happens during the improvisation or the practice of the scene, then you leave the theater or the stage or the school or whatever, the acting place, and you're literally then in a place where you have this leftover emotional life that is still active in you, but it's dissipated somewhat, because you're still learning the technique of releasing emotion. Now, this isn't made up. This is actually how to do it. This is actually how to be able to do the acting. You literally are in a situation, and I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention if anyone's here or not, but that's fine. The thing is, you're literally in a situation where you're activating yourself prior to the classroom. You're reactivating yourself just moments before working. And then you're left with the result of that, as well as all of the results of what actually took place inside the acting exercise. Now, if you're literally dating somebody that just wants to be with you because you're famous, which I would never advise, and this is the actual way that you've become famous, because you've actually done it through hard work, I don't know what to tell you, because they're not going to be able to respect, or they may not be able to respect, that you're coming back after working in acting and you need 3 to 4 hours, or maybe sometimes 2, or an hour. It depends on the scene, right? To debrief yourself from the emotional intense experience. Now, when I say intensity in acting can be completely and absolutely subtle. It doesn't have to be this emotional outburst, fists flaring, walls getting hit, slamming doors, all that other nonsense. It doesn't have to be that way, although sometimes it is. The reality of this is that you're literally in a situation where you've activated this emotion, and the subtleties of having woken up an emotional component in you is what is literally starting to completely affect the interaction that you're doing in the acting. I mean, it's incredibly revealing. This is not work that's for the light of heart. This isn't something to be able to tiptoe around. This is something to realize that when you go into acting, you're literally submerging yourself in emotional waters. This is something where your interaction is going to even amplify that. Now, it could be a very quiet exercise, a very quiet scene, and the comment comes up in the scene that, you have, I don't know, like you have an ego. And that's off the cuff comment that comes out in the exercise. And all of a sudden, in that moment, you either realize that you have an ego in a certain part of you that you didn't know that you had, or, oh my goodness, like that was like it spurs some sort of emotion, like you're just completely offended. Now, these are all things that happen in your actual acting. Well, it doesn't just turn off. Fakers get up on stage and say, oh yeah, well, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. Professionals get up and they'll say, well, it's on and it's off, but there's still some stuff I have to work through. Professionals in acting have to work through the actual stuff that goes on in their acting after their work. It's just normal. This is an absolutely normal process. So, well, when you're asking yourself this question, there's a lot of stuff that comes out. I mean, a lot. So, when we're working to be able to do this. Now, here's the thing. Here's a challenge for you. I don't care if you're seeing this live or on a replay. You could take the challenging yourself. This is a personal challenge. This isn't a competition with anybody else. Don't get me started on acting competitions and how everybody treats exercises like they're competing for the moment or the limelight. It's not like that. The work when people are competing against each other in acting is usually terrible. I know, I've seen over 30,000 acting exercises. And some of them I've looked at and gone, oh my gosh, wow. Well, I'm really happy to see the work because I'm grateful to every single person that I've seen the work of because I have learned from them in the acting classes, and that is no joke. I have absolutely learned from their mistakes and from their victories. Now, if you take the next 3 days and you give yourself the challenge and explore why you want to be an actor, you will empower yourself to be able, this is key, you can then determine the steps of how to become the actor that you want to be. What could be more important to you? Going and living out an improvisation where there's people there, and I get it, there's attention there, I get it. But here's the thing. What could be more important than literally sitting down with yourself, asking yourself, why do you want to be an actor? So you can come up with the actual customized how you personally can determine the steps that you want to be. It's key. This is key. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. You're capable of empowering yourself in your acting. Now, I've had some people, even people that have been named, and they've said to me, they've wondered. They're like, well, you've seen all these classes, and you've studied, and you're teaching, and like, what do you want? Like, don't you just want to go out and become famous? I couldn't care less about being famous. I want to work. If fame is part of it, then I'll accept that when it comes. And if it's not, then I will accept it. I just want to continue to work. I don't want and I don't need the confirmation from others to be who I am myself. What I need to do is keep working acting techniques so I can discover more of who I am. And then when the opportunities come up, I've got a little bit of a circumstance. I'm dyslexic. I have TBI, which is brain injury. and came from a student that's in the industry, and from an assault. And I also have brain atrophy, which is right now it's good. I mean, things seem to be okay. Everything working. And that's a little bit of a challenge. Does it stop me? No, it can't. I've got to continue to go through that element. So I know that if I'm working with stuff, it's going to be my own adjustments, obviously, to be able to keep things working for myself so that I can actually continue to drive forward in acting. But I know this. The more I know myself, the quicker I can be taken and given a sheet of material and identify an emotion, an instinct. I can start a piece of work using something that I actually am able to activate. Now, these are unique things. Not everyone uses acting techniques. That's why the fact that you're finding information out on how to find your own acting technique, it's actually a nice thing, because we're not looking to, I'm not trying to say, look, you know, I've studied Meisner more than you have. I don't care if I've studied Meisner more than you have. And frankly, I have. But the thing is, the point of it is that you want to be able to find what works for you. I have seen people, regardless of their clout in the industry, and they literally don't know how to access their own emotions. And they go, well, you know, I thought that the Meisner technique was for that. Well, no, hold on a second. Yeah, that's great. And you could find stuff and you could work with whatever technique, but here's the key. You can work with whatever technique that is able to get you to access you. How do you find yourself? How do you mind yourself? By asking yourself this very, 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 very important question. Why do you want to be an actor? So you can graft out how you want to be the actor that you want to be. Do you want to be a stylistic actor? Do you want to give yourself habits that will continue to absolutely like put you in over performance mode so you can do like some Korean drama? And you want to be like completely comical and you don't want any realism? Then that's what you want to do. If you want to work with realism, how much realism are you comfortable dealing with? Do you want to learn this work in a way that is actually capable of mining your deepest secrets? Are you capable or wanting to actually go that deep with your work? Are you not sure if that's really the way to go because you need to trust the technique? Well, if so, how do you learn to be able to access yourself to then be able to have that element, that technique, that spice, that desire? How do you isolate this in a way that you feel safety and security and yet are able to live an amplified experience? These are all questions that you can answer. And if you can't, it's because you're not asking yourself the question, why do you want to be an actor? So this is very, very, very good conversation because it's important. And I am absolutely thrilled to be having this conversation, regardless if there's people here or not. Ask me comments, work with what it is that I'm saying, isolate the areas that you can so that you can actually start to actually work on what it is that you can then craft your technique. Okay, let's take a short break and I'll be right back. Hold on a second. Okay, brainstorm. Hi, I have studied with well over 35 different Meisner teachers. And many of them I used to watch when they were just baby Meisner students in the classes. They didn't even do teaching yet. They were just students in the classroom. So you could join me at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays and ask me anything. and about acting. And then you can also, we can work together to be able to help get your emotions. So if you want to help to be able to do emotional preparations, it's absolutely no problem. Listen, I have seen a lot of acting, and you could join me at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I will even help you do your emotional preparation. Just, I'll send you a link. You can come backstage. We can work face to face, and you can join the live stream. Hi, would you help me to be able to help you? Would you please, in the comments section, just place one question per comment that you have about acting? It's really important to me that you find your own acting technique. And if you ask some really good questions, you never know what I might be able to come up with answers. Okay, we're back. And this is a great conversation, a great situation, and we're going to continue to do these every Tuesday and Friday, although that might change. Some of the dates might change. So, check the website and let's keep going. So, there's this, there is going to be some questions also in this area where we can get some questions and answers. And I do have some comments and questions that have come through, and I appreciate those people that have submitted comments and questions. Now, there is this topic that needs to be addressed. Now, the topic is, basically, we're taught across the board that emotional preparations are our own personal business, right? Well, look, that they're supposed to be personal, that emotional preparations are something that we're supposed to keep a secret for ourselves, so that we're able to have these acting secrets that we can secretly know how to activate, and it's all hush hush, etc. Now look, I respect absolutely that people want to often be able to keep on the quieter side what their emotional preparations are and what they are not. But let me tell you this. Don't hold back your own acting talent by keeping secrets about how you access your own talent. Because if you choose to do this, you are going to limit or block off your ability to explore what could further activate you in your acting. Now, does it take guts to sit, admit, I don't know, there's one thing this week that I remember doing, and it was on regret. I regretted that I didn't marry somebody when they offered. Real life. And I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking at the gossip. What the thing is, I went into a regret. Now, there was more than one side of it. There was a lot of things to think through, all this other nonsense. But the thing was, I could go into my regret and I could then activate that and put that regret into the Spoon River work. And I could show you that the emotion can just carry right into it really nicely. And if the camera is on a tight close-up, man, you can start to see. You can start to see that there are emotional elements just fluttering through. And all of a sudden, just by saying the words of the Spoon River or of the text of the scene, all of a sudden, more emotion builds upon more emotion and more emotion. And there's a sleigh ride that starts to happen. This ride that happens where all of a sudden, what started off as a regret from an emotional preparation that it built up into the storyline. There's elements that started to be included in the storyline. Now, this was just a simple example because I wanted to do something, and I'll do more of these where I'm even deeper, where I really absolutely show how to actually get your emotion activated and then put it out into the imaginary world. And there's this element in you that literally is like this like push and pull thing that happens in you. And this push and pull thing is the thing that I'm trying to encourage you to get past, because there's this like modesty about it, which is like, well, don't know if you can go into this, or the circumstances were whatever they were. But hold on, we're not looking to do this for therapy. We're looking to do this for activation. So we're looking to be able to go into past memory, or we're looking to be able to go into past experience. And we're looking to isolate this element in ourselves that then pinches ourselves to spur some sort of emotional response. And then with that emotional response, you go into the scene. And I would suggest, absolutely suggest, that you go into the scene with some vulnerability. So you're not just going into the scene like I've seen many people do. And they go into the scene with an emotion, and all they want to do is play their emotional note. You can work like that. Maybe the writer has written it like that, but if the writer has not written it like that, it's not very natural. So you would want to be with some sort of state of unknowingness, just like in life. You don't know what's going to happen in life. I don't know. Maybe not marrying somebody in the past would, in the future, turn out to be the right relationship. Completely not something that would be somewhat right and somewhat wrong. And maybe that's part of my future happiness in the future. And if so, I have to be open to that. So there's this growth that I can give myself if I'm capable and willing to, with safe enough things, to be able to anticipate and work with that and activate it and admit some of my emotional preparations. Now, I don't know. I mean, how anything would be more helpful to the actor, except for working with vivid daydreams, imaginations, to be able to work with this. Because we're still on the topic of, why do you want to be an actor? See, do you want to enter into this whole artistic realm? Or do you just want friends to hang out with? If so, go to the pool hall, whatever, go to the motorcycle clubs, go to wherever. I mean, maybe they're into acting too, who knows? But the thing is that you can absolutely find and mine talent that's within you. And if you limit this whole thing and you shroud it all with this like protection of shame and this protection of guilt and this protection, I mean, no, go into your guilt. What do you feel guilty about? What can you actually activate that puts you in a place of guilt? Can you set up an exercise in the acting where you have the acting of shame and guilt? And can you activate that guilt inside of yourself and work with it within like a brother-sister relationship in an exercise? If you can, that's what you want to do. You want to do this stuff in classes. You want to do this stuff in writing. You want to pick up a pen and paper and you want to do an independent activity. Writing letters to your imaginary brother or sister. Confessing your guilt to them. confessing the fact that you absolutely feel horrid about something, that you can access and activate that guilt, and that guilt then comes out in your work, so it's not stuck in you. And this is what you will actually find, and I know this to be true, at the highest levels, people will look at you and with one or two glances go, yeah, that's some acting guy, or that's some, I don't know, they may not recognize who you are, but they'll know this. They'll say that there's something artistic about that fella, or that madam or dame or whatever you call it, people these days. The thing is that the reality is, people will look at you and they'll say there's an artistic quality about you. What kind of a compliment was that? That is an absolute highest level of compliment. People know that you're into something artistic. Why? Because they see that there's something there's an energy to you. There's an element to you. There's this element that you work with emotions. You're able to be expressive. There's this receiving that you do. There's a part of you that listens. There's a part of you that actually responds and works to be able to actually mine your own talent. These are important things. These are things that will get you ahead in this industry. When people look at you who are in this industry and look at you and they say, yeah, this person, they fit the bill for such and such, you know, they might call you into one of those side casting offices that people do, which is how it works sometimes. Cast you in the part before they do the auditions for the part, because that does happen these days. So here's the thing, and it's happened for a long time like that. And it's no different than in the music industry. You don't get records played on the radio because you're popular. You get records played on the radio often because there's a back payout. That's been going on for years. And that's just part of the industry. Sometimes you can break through and get some popularity, some genuine popularity, but the majority of it's all promotion. So they'll look at the promotion, they'll do the promoting of every single thing, and that's the way that the industry is run, with that promoting. There's just some of the promotion is corrupt and some of it's not, and that's just how the industry is. So don't think that that's a lack of something in you, because the industry is actually what it is. You know, other people say, well, you know, here's a common one that happens a lot of times. People will look at you. I've had people had discussions about me like this, where they look and they say, well, look, he's just too much into his own thing. He can't be a supporting role. No, I'm being very serious. People will say, well, we don't know if this person's capable of being a supporting role. We've already made a deal to be able to whatever on the main cast. The main cast already has producers that have their family already in it. So they're going to go with what they've already done. They've already predetermined the cast. So then the casting actually is at the level where they're actually trying to find a fit that has dumb enough talent that's never going to get better than the top level. And this is part of the discussions in some of the casting offices. You can't put somebody that's a lead out in a picture, because sometimes it would maybe possibly overtake the scheduled star that's in the picture. Now, I know this is a crazy thing, but it's the truth. I know people have done this. I know this is exactly how some of this casting is done. And it's not anything weird. It's just, I guess this is human nature. You know, there's somebody that's wanting to get a project up. It's personal. They want their nephew to be able to be a part of it. They want their whatever. And this is part of how the industry actually clicks. And this is another reason to ask yourself this question. Why do you want to be an actor? Are you capable of being a side role? Are you capable of being a supporting figure? Or are you going to say things that are contrary or have a contrary presence that might overtake the lead star that maybe doesn't know how to act very well, but they're, relatives of one of the producers. So this is something that's real. This is actually part of the politics of acting. And this is just something that's just, I don't know what to tell you. So my best suggestion in this case is you want to practice doing things that are supportive of others. I know I study all types of people, all types of different status, all types of different fame, all types of different monetary people, whatever the case is, in terms of how much money people have or don't. And I don't care about any of it. All I care about is the talent. So can you train yourself so that you're able to be supportive of a supporting role? How can you make the other person better in your scene? If their reason for being the reason why the other person wants to become an actor is because they want to be famous, and they've got the connections that their relatives, whoever they are owning the productions, and they've got a guaranteed cast, even though they did a casting for the leads and they already had him picked or her picked. That's common enough circumstance in Hollywood and a lot of other places. So it's not like that's like rare circumstance. So the question then becomes, are you training yourself to be able to help the other person become better? Now, I have seen in classes people work techniques in their own acting that help the other actor become better. And they have been offered opportunities that they would never, ever, ever have thought that they would have had, because they were willing to. And this is part of the reason why I say you want to work with vulnerability in acting. You want to work with this element of vulnerability. You work with vulnerability, then you work with the ableness, the consistency of putting yourself in a place where you're, one, able to grow as an actor, and two, you're able to actually make the other person look better than they are. Now, I'm not saying don't release your talent. This is why interaction is key. You're dealing with interaction in acting. You want the other person to be better. You don't want to just, there's tons of people that train or have trained in acting where they learned that emotional preparation is simply getting an emotion or an instinct and having conviction to bulldoze their way into the acting. And they go in and they force their emotion on the other person, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's the approach of listening, of being humble, of having some vulnerability, of wanting to have a greater experience. And those people will go and they'll emotionally prepare, they'll have the emotion, and then they'll depend upon the interaction to be able to have their emotion come out. Now, this is fantastic advice in acting. It's fantastic changes to your acting. This will change your acting all of a sudden. Instead of being seen as this bulldozer with emotion, people are afraid to work with you. All you do is throw your emotion out at people. No, now all of a sudden, your emotion that you're capable of getting and having in yourself and activating within yourself, your emotion now becomes your acting partner's friend too. It's not something that's a competition. It's something that's supportive. So look, if I was being given a part, I don't know, it doesn't matter where, to be honest, but I was being given a part with all of the different life experiences that I've had, with all the different work and trials and tests and and 30,000 plus acting classes, or acting exercises, and all this other stuff, I would absolutely ask myself, for myself, why does the other person want to be an actor? Now, I'm not joking. This is what I seriously would do. Then I would ask myself, do I know why they want to become an actor? Number one. Number two, how can I help the other person become a better actor? Now, why is this important? Let me write this down. Now look, why would I want to take all my experience, all of my studies, all of my hard work, and work to try to make the other actor better? And the answer is simple. It's so absolutely clear. And sometimes it might take a couple of years to really find this for yourself, although you might find it in a couple of months. You want to be able to trust. The better you make the other actor, the better your acting is going to be. It's that simple. If I'm working at all in this industry, in any way at all, if it's some independent film, if it's whatever the case is, I don't care. I want to see more expression in the other actor, be more supportive of the other actor, receive the other actor, see them succeed. It has to be a point of view where I'm literally, absolutely wanting that the other actor is going to be a focus of me, that is going to be, I literally want to believe in the other actor. Now, I have to, in order to have integrity, acknowledge the other actor's faults and differences. That's true. But I want the other actor to feel and absolutely have my support in acting. Regardless. And when I'm capable of doing that, I'm giving myself another role in the future. I'm giving myself another acting gig in the future. When you're able to support the other cast members around you by being that consistent, and remember, I have this phenomenal saying, and it's consistency requires constant change. Consistency requires constant change. Remember that. Remember that. Nothing in this world, every single thing takes hard work in this world to achieve consistency. Nothing in this world is just consistent by itself. It's consistently changing. You have to consistently change to be able to be consistent. So you would have to consistently work to persistently and persevere receiving the other person, recognizing their faults, but supporting them. I don't want ever to compete with anybody in acting. I don't want ever to compete with anybody in my acting exercises. I'm there to have an experience with them. If I have opposing views, then I have to express them. But I'm not there to undermine them. I'm not there to manipulate them. I'm not there to do anything that's hindering to them. I'm not there to show them up. And I'm certainly not there in a way that's going to try to one-up them. I want to literally be that supportive. I'm completely, absolutely supportive. It's key. It's absolutely key to make that adjustment in your acting. So look, we've had a pretty good day here today. And I'll check later to see what comments come in, and I'll do videos to respond to them. And if you want to participate live, face-to-face, in a future episode, even bring your own topic. I don't mind. And let me know. And it will then be out there and people can see it. And, you know, it's interesting. I have a lot of experience over the years studying actors and teaching and talking with people and coaching people on the side and all kinds of stuff. I really like acting. I really, really like acting. And to me, acting is like the epitome of human expression. You know, acting is the absolute like key in what it is to be human and to actually have like interconnection